The main reason why I'm doing this particular video is because my DMs are flooded with messages of people asking, Gayatri, how do we attract more money in our lives? By now, I think you would have understood I don't teach something which is more like a quick fix or something which is more like a superficial answer, right? If you want more money, just do the affirmations, everything will get all right in your life. While that is partially true, what is equally important is for you to understand how your childhood and your bank balance is actually connected. The most important thing for you to realize is, in order for you to increase your income, you need to change your perspective about what income is in the first place. Most people say, I want to attract more income into my life. What you attract in your life, especially the abundance, the money, the opportunities, the people, is not the income. That is the outcome that you attract in your life, and the income is the work that you do on yourself. And every time you raise your income, which means you raise your self-love, you raise your self-acceptance, you raise your self-standard, and the respect that you give to yourself and how you feel about yourself, that is your income. When you raise your income, the outcome will also catch up. It takes 90 days. Because 90 days, in the last 90 days, what you've been dominantly thinking and what you've been dominantly feeling is what your external reality is going to show up for you in your life. So if that is the case, it means it takes only 90 days for you to rewire your subconscious beliefs altogether in order for you to change your external reality. So please start understanding the concept that external reality is not the problem. External reality is only a reflection. If you go stand in front of the mirror and don't like what you see in the mirror, you will not judge or blame the mirror, because that is only reflecting back to you who you truly are. So in today's video, I have put everything together to help you understand how your childhood is linked with your bank balance. So for this, there are 5 different sections of the video. The first section is for you to understand the linking between your childhood and your bank balance, which means how the subconscious beliefs that you've had from your childhood and the patterns that you've seen in your childhood is literally reflecting back to you in your reality at this point of time. The first section is going to cover that. The second section is going to be about you understanding that your limiting beliefs about money or your limiting beliefs about abundance in your life was probably not yours. How your beliefs were borrowed and they're not yours, and how you can actually go within and start to rewire. This is going to be the second section of the video. The third section of the video is for you to understand your association with love, money, and opportunities. So you will also start to realize how and why some people are very comfortable with speaking in terms of, oh, I want to earn so many crores, I want to build an empire, which is $1 million company, $1 billion company, while some people just get shaken up when they even speak in lakhs. So this is nothing but your nervous system going haywire when it does not feel safe. And we're going to start understanding the association. And the fourth part of the video is going to be about breaking the patterns. And the last part of the video is going to be about how do you sustain this? What are the practices that you can do? The practices that you can do on a regular basis so that you can expand your bandwidth, you can expand your energy so that you attract more money into your life. So make sure, like how I always say, it's amazing to make notes. I would actually recommend for all of you, just buy a separate notebook. Every time you watch a YouTube video or every time you sit in a masterclass, I mean, for some of you, you would have already attended my masterclass, Heal and Manifest Masterclass. For some of you who've not attended, you can check the link that is somewhere put down in this video, or you can also check in my Instagram bio, you'll find the link to attend the masterclass. Every time you learn something new, this is something I do, every time you learn something new, start making notes of it. Start making notes of what you learned, and finally start making notes of what are the implementational steps. Simply because learning is accumulating a lot of knowledge in your mind. But then when does the knowledge translate into wisdom? The knowledge translates into wisdom when you start taking action. So it's always amazing for you to have a separate notebook that you're always carrying with yourself, because sometimes having a conversation with somebody can open up your mind to something, and that can go as pointers of what you really need to remember. And Even now, I refer back to the notes that I've written from 2016, 2017. Such amazing insights. But now, when I start looking at the same notes, my perspective about life has changed, which means the meaning that I'm deriving from the notes that I wrote back then is also changing. So, it's a great idea for you to have a separate notebook. If you have a separate notebook, tell me in the chat box. I would love to know how many of you are starting to implement it. I am more interested than you watching the video. I mean, compared to you watching the video, which is great, but compared to that, you implementing all of these steps to start seeing results. Because the worst thing that you can do to yourself is to know what you want, know the steps of getting there, and not do anything about it. Because that guilt is going to consume you more than anything else in your life, right? So we're going to go through all the 5 steps. Make sure you make notes, and finally, start off with your practice routine, because that is the only thing that is going to bring in a lot of results in your life. So the first part of the video, what we're going to look at is how before the age of 7, most of your subconscious beliefs about money was created, which means we all have something called, this is us, okay? And we have a nervous system inside of us. A nervous system always gets back to what feels familiar. And always the goal of a nervous system is to protect us, which means every time you're moving outside what feels familiar, your nervous system is going to feel like, I can't do this. Oh my God, there is so much of an overwhelm. So every time you feel this emotion of overwhelm inside of you, it is an indicator that your nervous system can only stretch so much, and you're trying to stretch your nervous system even further. So let's say this part of your nervous system feels comfortable at this point of time, say earning 1 lakh per month or 2 lakhs per month. So now, every time you think outside that, you think about 3 lakhs per month or 5 lakhs per month, there is a sense of overwhelm, and your nervous system kind of tells your brain saying, hey, stop them from doing whatever they're doing, because it means they're moving outside the comfort zone. And every time you move outside your comfort zone, the mind assumes it as a threat and it protects you from that. This is the mechanism that we've all been developed with. But now the question is, why in the first place do some people have the threshold or the bandwidth of 1 lakh? I'm giving an example. But why do some people have it as 1 crore or 5 crores or $1 million? So this comes because of all the things that you saw and all the things that you heard as a child about money when you were growing up. Let's say your parents constantly quarreled about money, or the conversations, like imagine when you were up until the age of 7, you were like a sponge. This sponge was constantly, it had its antennas outside. And when the antennas went out, any information that came, without even trying to understand if it is right or wrong, why was it not possible? Because we did not have an analytical mind that was developed. So anything that came in our reality, we started to absorb that. The more we absorbed that, what ended up happening? This sponge started believing that, oh, it's very difficult to make money. Oh, the only way for us to invest money is to put it in FD. Oh, we cannot take risk. Oh, we don't come from an entrepreneurial background. Oh, only rich people can become rich. We don't have the skill set. All of these beliefs are so strongly sitting in the deep layers of your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind, you need to understand this very carefully. The job of a brain is to make sure it conserves energy. So anything that is a repetition for it, or anything that feels familiar for it, for you to do that, it does not require a lot of energy. And that is why you tend to go back to the old ways of believing. See, your belief is nothing but repetition of thoughts, what you've been telling yourself again and again. But in this case, it is not even your thoughts. It is thoughts from your parents, thoughts from your childhood, thoughts from your grandparents, or people who you looked up to when you were growing up. Think about all these old 80s, 90s movies. All the villains were rich people. So sociologically, we were kind of imparted a belief saying when you have a lot of money, you become bad. So what do we all like to be? We all like to be good. So if I want to be good, what do? Not end up attracting a lot of wealth in my life. Please remember, money does not make anybody good or bad. Money only amplifies what you already are. For this, I want you to sit down with yourself, even pause the video for a minute and ask yourself, what were the conversations that my parents had when I was growing up around money? Do I feel safe and familiar around scarcity, or do I feel safe and familiar around abundance? I grew up in a very scarce environment. It was only hand to mouth for us, right? We did not have a stable job, which is my parents did not have a stable job, and it was just hand to mouth for us all the time. And all that I'd seen was scarcity. All that I'd heard was my parents constantly fighting when it came to money. And the kind of conversations around money were very, very simple. Oh, we will never have a lot of money. The only thing you will do is grow up, go to a company, work, and make money. So I was constantly, my tuning was constantly set in a way where I had to become an employee because that was the only thing my parents knew. They put that belief into me. For the longest time, I did believe that was the only way you can make money. I did not understand stocks. I did not understand investments. I did not understand any single thing. But the beauty is, this sponge, whatever it is attracted and whatever it believes as familiar, is not from you. It is actually from your parents, and you will slowly start to understand their life is the way it is. Take a look at the life of your parents at this point of time. No judgments. They had their own trauma. They went through their own cycles. So no judgments. But just be aware of the fact that what is their external reality at this point of time? It's truly a reflection of what they believed about abundance and money in their life. So now please understand, this sponge is something that is still sitting inside of you, carrying all of the beliefs of your parents. And for us, we have to start changing the water that the sponge is like absorbed for a really long time. We've got to squeeze it out. We've got to take that sponge, dip it in another bucket full of fresh water that believes in the possibility of abundance and that makes you feel it is safe for you to have abundance. And here, through this process, we're going to familiarize our nervous system to feel calm around abundance, to feel calm around experiences that make you feel abundant in your life. Now for us to go into the second part of the video, which is for you to understand your money beliefs. Money beliefs, right? I want you to start asking yourself and introspecting on these lines. Please remember, the maximum transformation in any one of our lives, including yours and including mine, happens when there is a lot of introspection. When we sit down, spend time with us and start thinking and start contemplating about what is the actual truth. Now, I want you to sit with yourself and ask yourself, what are my dominant money beliefs? What are my dominant money beliefs? Do I believe making money is easy? Do I believe making money is difficult? Do I have a great relationship with money? Or every time I see somebody becoming really wealthy or somebody becoming rich and somebody attracting opportunities in their life, how do I feel about that? Do I feel happy for them? Okay, now here's the thing. No politically right answers or no Miss Universe answers where you say all these very flamboyant and politically right answers. No, that is not going to help us transform. The only thing that is going to help us transform is us being real, authentic and true to ourselves. So ask yourself, every time I see somebody else being really wealthy or somebody else really being happy, how does that make me feel? Does that make me feel happy or does that make me feel jealous? To be very honest with you, the day I started to call out my own bullshit, I did not do this activity for money, but I did it for relationships. Because I was stuck in different toxic relationships in my life throughout, because it had equally for me to do with that, because I was equally toxic in my own ways. But what you really need to understand is, I used to tell myself, oh, I'm very happy for everybody. But deep inside, I was actually jealous of people being in great relationships because I did not have that. That was an indicator of my own scarcity. That was not an indicator of the couple or their relationship. It was an indicator of my own scarcity. So if I were to bullshit to myself and lie to myself, I would be like, oh, I'm very happy for everybody. That will not change anything in us. The only thing that will change things in us is when we become raw and real with us. Ask yourself, what are my top dominant money beliefs? And ask yourself, what do I generally feel? Especially when I see people with a lot of abundance and money. Now, once you've answered both these questions honestly, I want you to ask yourself, where did these patterns come from and where did these belief systems come from? Where did these patterns come from? Where did these belief systems come from? Now you will slowly start to realize the beliefs that you have about money are not even yours. Go back to your childhood and think about the words that your mother said, the words that your father said, the words that your primary caregiver said about money. That is the one that is constantly ringing in between your ears. And the immediate response that you have towards a lot of wealth or somebody who's flourishing in their life is sometimes, no, actually, most of the times it is coming from the same reactional space that you saw your primary caregivers react to somebody who is very abundant in their life. Think about it. It might hurt you because this is the truth, but you really need to go within to understand the truth so that you can rewire it at this point of time. These are not yours. And surprisingly, you might think, oh my God, it's my parents' fault. Who did you think they got it from? Their ancestors. They didn't know any better. See, you and I have YouTube, you and I have access to so many mentors, so many coaches, so much learning, so much introspection, all of this. What do you think they had? They had absolutely nothing. So rather than blaming them for this, look at yourself as somebody who's gotten this incredible opportunity for you to start working on this. So now that you've become aware that number one, oh, I do have certain limiting money beliefs, and that's exactly why I'm not able to attract money in my life. And the second thing, okay, this is not mine. This is probably my caregivers. So which is not mine. I, with all due respect, give it back to them. These beliefs that I have not come from my own experience. These beliefs that I have come from somebody else's experience, and I have made it my own. Right? The third thing we're going to look at is our emotional associations with money, love, and scarcity. Please remember, your money story did not start with you, but it can end with you, which means you can have very empowering belief systems about money that you can pass on to the next generation, where you also nurture them into having very similar mindset about money. But before even we get into that, we need to understand that when you are growing up as a child, if there was a lack of emotional stability, if there was, oh wow, when I'm doing this video, it's actually 11:11, which is perfect. So when there is emotional instability and when there is a lot of chaos, you know what ends up happening? The money consistency of being and feeling abundant and feeling comfortable with money also takes a toll. That is why a lot of children who grow up into adults who are either overspending, who are anxious about money, who don't know how to invest money, are constantly spending or constantly feeling that scarcity is coming from unmet childhood needs. Which means at this point of time, your entire sense of validation, right? Your entire sense of validation comes from your worth. Your worth comes from the money that you make. Please remember, we're worthy with it or without it. And when you start believing in that, I am worthy with or without any external things in my life, that is when you become a magnet to attracting everything. But when I start to believe my entire sense of self-worth is dependent on how much money I create, it means you're creating money from a space of void. To fill the void with worthiness of how other people are going to treat you, you're going to start hustling, you're going to start doing things to attract money, and you will still feel unfulfilled in the process. And this kind of money that you attract in your life does not sustain and does not make you feel fulfilled in the process also. So when you start working on your money beliefs, I would also simultaneously want for you to sit with yourself and ask your inner child, right? The multiple inner child practices that we encourage people to. Ask yourself, what are the unmet needs that I have? Why is that even despite attracting certain kind of wealth in my life and becoming successful in my life, why do I still feel that hollowness or emptiness on the inside? It comes because of this. And generally, majority of the people that I know, right, they have an emotional association with money. The more emotionally associated you are with something, yeah, the more chances it is going to take you like this, take you like this, take you like this. Because the days you're making great money, you're like, yeah, I'm feeling so good. And the days you're not, you're feeling like, oh my God, I feel like a loser. So your internal stability is not sturdy. So when my internal stability is not sturdy and is dependent on how much money I make, why? Because it is filling the void. It all comes down to filling this void. But when you learn how to fill this void yourself, and when you look at money as a beautiful resource that helps you enhance your life without having an emotional attachment to it, but you're only using it as a tool. Do I have an emotional attachment to this pen? No. But this pen is helping me write, helping me explain things, helping me convey something. Great. The purpose of the pen is just that. But the minute I start looking at money also like that, the purpose of money is to enhance my life. The purpose of money in my life is so that I can give money to a lot of people, as a result of which I can become happy. So you use money as a tool. So money does not control you. You know how to use money in a way that empowers you. So that is why clearing off these unmet childhood needs, which is stemming from scarcity, which is stemming from, oh, I did not feel loved from my parents when I was growing up. I stuffed myself with food. Some people do that. I stuffed myself with a lot of work to feel more productive, to make more money, so that I tend to forget what is lacking inside of me. One day it's going to come and bite you in your ass. So please, while you're working on your subconscious beliefs around money, also start working on healing that little girl or little boy who's inside of you. The next section is very, very crucial and important because you start breaking the patterns. And how do you start breaking the patterns? The first step in breaking the patterns is awareness. Awareness that your life is the way it is right now and you're not able to attract the kind of abundance that you truly deserve in your life right now because you have certain beliefs, subconscious beliefs and blocks that are stopping you from getting where you want to go. So awareness is step number one. So if this is point A, this is point B, and you want to travel from point A to point B, having awareness is 50% work done. Because what you have awareness towards, it's very unlikely that you become ignorant about it. That is, you forget the awareness. It never happens. Awareness is a one-way street and it keeps expanding with time. So now, with this awareness, by asking yourself the questions of, what is my association with money? What are my dominant beliefs about money? Whose voice do I constantly hear, or who do I think like, or who do I speak like every time when I'm spending money or when I'm making money? You'll be surprised. For me, it was my mother's voice. I think most of you would have had this experience. So when mother sent fathers to the vegetable shops to buy vegetables, right? My mother would be so, confused. She'll be like 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 5 rupees while I was growing up. And with that, you wouldn't get anything. But the scarcity was so strong that sometimes even when I had money after I grew up, I was very stingy. It didn't come from a space of doing it consciously. It came from a space of I was enacting who my mother was, because that is what I'd seen for almost 20, 21 years of living with them, right? So awareness helps you get to that point. Then you ask yourself these questions. And then you slowly start becoming aware, disassociating from that. These are not mine. This is somebody else's. I'm going to give it back to them. So you start with awareness. The second one is inner child healing. I told you previously that if you don't fill the voids that you already have on the inside, the unmet needs of your child. So for this, what I would highly recommend is on a weekend, okay? The first thing I would highly recommend for you to do is just take some time off yourself, probably the entire day. Keep your phone aside, just be with yourself. When you're being with yourself, what I would recommend is the first 1-2 hours of your day, declutter something in your house. It could be your cupboard, it could be your study table, it could be your library, whatever that space in your house that feels so cluttered right now, declutter it. Why? Because when you're decluttering something on the outside, you're decluttering your subconscious mind also. So now that you've decluttered, go take a shower and come sit with yourself, which means your mind is in a much more zen state compared to you having all of this clutter around you. So this is a hack for you to get back into the Zen state. So once you get back into the Zen state, sit with yourself and ask yourself, when I was a child, what did I need the most and what was I deprived of? When I was a child, what did I need the most and what was I deprived of? You will come up with answers. For me, it was majorly father's love. It was majorly having a lot of friends. It was majorly being appreciated by my mother, not just for the academic excellence, but generally for who I was. So make a list of all the things. Sometimes you might also end up crying in this process, and it's absolutely okay. Make a list of all of those things. Now you become aware of all of those things. Then I would like to sit down and do a beautiful meditation. In a few days, I'll be uploading an inner child meditation video, audio also, so that you can start listening to that and process and work on your inner child. So when you start processing and working on your inner child, you're building a connection with that little girl or boy on the inside, the one that you've abandoned all these years. Now you're saying, I'm going to be there for you no matter what. This connection, beautiful connection that you create, right? You were born whole and complete. But because of life's experiences, let's say these are all small, small pieces that have been put apart. Now, every time when you establish a connection with your inner child, you're going to bring all of them together and get back to the wholeness once again. And the lack of fulfillment that you're feeling in your life starts to convert into feeling fulfilled and wholeness when you bring all these broken pieces and put it together. And the third thing that I would love for you to do is start doing affirmations loudly about money. Every day, just stand in front of the mirror and just tell yourself, I love money. Money loves me. I'm the favorite child of the universe. Money flows into my life with so much ease. I always attract opportunities into my life that help me build abundance. I'm so safe and comfortable with money. I'm so safe and comfortable with abundance in my life. Start using affirmations like this. And also in your vision board, if you've not created, this is your sign for you to create your vision board. Once you start doing this, you will realize that the fifth step, do this for 30 days. 30 days, intentional work. Any intentional work that you do for 30 days will have a huge impact because it takes 21 days for the new neural connections to happen, 66 days for a new habit to get created, and 90 days for a complete transition of identity to happen. So when you do 30 days consistently of you becoming aware of your money blocks, of you becoming aware of how uncomfortable your body feels every time you think about abundance in your life, that is your subconscious trying to tell you, hey, get back, get back, get back. And once you ask these questions and build your awareness into understanding that, oh, these are not mine, this is somebody else's belief, and slowly incorporating the new beliefs that you want to anchor in your subconscious mind. And the next thing is, every time you feel uncomfortable or you sense a lot of discomfort when opportunities don't come your way or you don't know how you're going to figure it out, just sit with that discomfort. Every time when your nervous system is going off track and you're sitting with yourself and doing deep breaths and observing the discomfort in your body, you're training your nervous system and telling your nervous system saying, hey, I know it's uncomfortable, but it is safe. I know it is uncomfortable, but it is safe. When you keep doing this, your nervous system, which was expanded only so much, will slowly start to expand because you're sitting with it in presence and you're constantly telling it, hey, it's safe, don't worry, I am with you. That is the only way. You putting yourself through discomfort every single time is the only way you expand your bandwidth. You can do the same thing to attract love, to attract money, to attract opportunities, to attract your soulmate, anything. Please remember, the process of manifestation is foundational. Like how the law of gravity is foundational, this is also foundational. Don't overcomplicate it by thinking it is some voodoo stuff or only when I do this particularly at this time, this is going to happen. None of that is true. When you have the ability to rewire your subconscious beliefs and when you have the ability to start believing that you deserve what you desire, you're sorted. And all of these steps help you get to that point. Yes, get started. Make notes, make actionable steps, and come back in 30 days to the same video to tell me what all new opportunities have started to show up for you in your life and how your subconscious beliefs have started to change for you. I would love to see all of that.